My son's wife slapped me at their wedding reception, not a light tap, a full swing that turned heads and stopped the jazz band mid-note. The thing is, I saw it coming. Not the slap itself, but the moment everything would break. I'd spent 30 years raising 2 kids on a foreman's salary, burying their mother when they were still in elementary school, and watching them grow into people who looked at me like I was something stuck to their shoe. The wedding was at the Riverside Estate, one of those places that charges you for parking and calls sparkling water by its Italian name. 200 guests, most of them strangers wearing clothes that cost more than my monthly rent. I wore the same suit I'd worn to every funeral and wedding for the past decade. It was clean. It fit. That used to be enough. I was sitting at table 9, the one they put family at when they don't want family too close. My daughter sat 3 tables away, posting photos to her phone, careful to angle out anything that showed me in the background. She'd gotten good at that. The bride, Ashley, glided toward me in her dress that probably cost more than my truck. "We need to talk," Ashley said. "Congratulations on the marriage," I said. "Thank you." She sat without being invited. Her mother stood behind her like a bodyguard. David and I have been discussing our living situation. David, my son, the kid I'd taught to throw a baseball, to change a tire, to frame a wall. He was watching from the head table, not moving. "That's between you and him," I said. "Actually, it involves you." Ashley's smile never wavered. "We've decided to move into a larger space, and David mentioned you own a 3-bedroom apartment downtown." "I do." "That would be perfect for us, for starting our family." I picked up my water glass, took a sip, set it down carefully. "I live there." "Yes, but you're alone. You don't need that much space. We were thinking you could move into something smaller, more manageable for a man your age. Maybe one of those senior communities. They have activities." The jazz band started up again. No one at the nearby tables was pretending not to listen anymore. "No," I said. Ashley's smile finally cracked. "I'm sorry?" I said, "No, I'm not giving you my apartment." She looked at her mother. Her mother nodded. Then Ashley did something I'll never forget. She reached across the table and, in front of 200 people, said loud enough for the whole room to hear, "Give me the keys. You're being selfish. We deserve to start our life without an old man holding us back." "No." She stood up. Her hand came across the table, palm open. I stood too, slower, feeling every one of my 58 years in my knees. I looked at my son. He looked away. "Last chance," Ashley said. "No." Her hand connected with my cheek hard enough to blur my vision. The room went silent except for someone's champagne glass hitting the floor. I didn't touch my face, didn't step back, just looked at her, then at my son, who was finally standing, but still not moving toward me. "Dad," he said, but his voice was wrong, pleading. "Not for me." "It's okay," I said. My cheek burned. "I understand now." I pulled out my phone, thumbed through my contacts, and made a call. "Jimmy, it's me. Remember you said if I ever needed anything, I need you to come to the Riverside Estate. Now." I hung up. Ashley was saying something. Her mother was saying something. My daughter had her phone up filming. My son finally walked over, but he went to his wife first, put his hand on her shoulder. "You should apologize to her," he said to me. "No." "Dad, please, you're embarrassing us." "I'm embarrassing you?" The doors at the back of the hall opened. Jimmy walked in, 63 years old and still built like he could carry someone out of a burning building. He was wearing his dress uniform, the one with the medals. Behind him came 3 other men, all in uniform. Retired firefighters, every one of them. The room recognized Jimmy first. He'd pulled 4 families out of the Riverside apartment fire in 2019, made the national news. Someone gasped, then someone started clapping, then the whole room was standing, applauding, some people crying. Jimmy walked straight to me, ignored everyone else and put his hand on my shoulder. "You okay?" he asked. "I've been better." He looked at Ashley, at my son, at the room full of rich people suddenly remembering what a real hero looked like. "Let's get you out of here," he said. I nodded, started to turn, then stopped and looked back at my son. "You should have picked better," I said, and that was the moment everything changed. While you're here, hit the hype button, don't forget to subscribe and support this channel with a like. And tell us below, have you ever faced something like this? I drove home alone. Jimmy followed in his truck, just to make sure I got there. The apartment was dark when I unlocked the door, the same way it had been dark every night for the past 12 years since Sarah died. 3 bedrooms, one I slept in, one that used to be the kids' room, now full of boxes and tools, one that was Sarah's sewing room, untouched, her old singer machine still by the window. I sat in the kitchen and looked at my phone. 17 missed calls, 12 from my son, 5 from my daughter, none asking if I was okay, all demanding I apologize. Jimmy made coffee without asking. "Tell me," he said, so I told him. Not just about tonight, about everything, about how I'd raised them after Sarah's funeral, working doubles and triples to keep them fed, clothed, in good schools. About how they got scholarships, got degrees, got jobs that made them more money in a month than I made in a year. About how they started correcting my grammar, hiding my photos on their social media, making excuses why I couldn't come to their work events. "They grew past me," I said. "I get it. That's what you want for your kids. You want them better than you." "That's not growing past you," Jimmy said. "That's growing away from decency." My phone buzzed. "David." I answered. "Dad, we need to talk." "Go ahead." "You made Ashley cry, in front of everyone, on her wedding day. She slapped me in front of everyone, on her wedding day. She was upset. You were being difficult about the apartment." I closed my eyes. "It's my home, David. It's too much space for one person. You're being selfish, and bringing Jimmy and those guys, that was a power play. You tried to humiliate us." "I called a friend. You made everything about you. This was supposed to be our day. Your wife demanded my home and slapped me when I said no." Silence on the line. Then, "If you can't apologize to Ashley, I don't think you should come around anymore. We're trying to build something here, and you're just dragging us backward." "Backward to what? To when I fed you, raised you, paid for your first car. I'm not doing this. Either apologize or accept that you're not part of our lives anymore." He hung up. Jimmy was watching me over his coffee cup. "He chose her," I said. "He chose wrong." I looked around my kitchen. At the table I'd built by hand when David was 6. At the chairs I'd refinished when my daughter was in high school. At the walls I'd painted every few years. The cabinets I'd installed. The floor I'd laid tile by tile. "I built everything they have," I said. "Not the money, the foundation. I taught them how to be people." And they forgot. I stood up, walked to the window, looked out at the city lights. "They want me out of their life," I said. "Fine, but they don't get to keep what I built while they do it." Jimmy set down his coffee. "What are you thinking?" "I'm thinking they forgot who I am, what I can do." "Don't do anything stupid." I turned to look at him. When have I ever done anything stupid? He didn't answer that. My phone buzzed again. My daughter this time, texting. "Everyone's talking about what you did. You're trending on TikTok. You made us look like trash." "Thanks a lot." I typed back, "I raised you better than this." She replied immediately, "You raised us poor. We fixed that ourselves." I put the phone down before I threw it through the window. "I need to show you something," I told Jimmy. We drove to the north side, to the new development where my son and his wife had bought their house. 4,000 square feet, 3-car garage, infinity pool. The kind of place you see in magazines. I'd been here once before, 3 months ago. Before the wedding. Before everything went to hell. "I built the foundation for this development," I told Jimmy as we sat in my truck across the street. "Me and my crew, 5 years ago. The developer was cutting corners, using cheap concrete, skipping proper rebar placement, I filed complaints, got ignored, eventually got paid off to keep quiet, which I didn't, which got me blacklisted from the company. And my son doesn't know his dream house is built on a nightmare. The foundation is compromised. There are already cracks forming in the substructure. Give it 2 more years, maybe 3, and this whole development is going to start settling wrong. Jimmy whistled low. That's not safe. No, it's not. But it's legal enough that the developer got away with it. The inspections were rubber-stamped. So what are you saying? I looked at the house, all lit up, probably full of wedding gifts and expensive furniture and my son's new life. I'm saying I can prove it. I kept copies of everything. Photos, reports, measurements. I can force a real inspection. And when they find what I know is there, that house becomes worthless. That'll destroy him financially. Yeah. Jimmy was quiet for a long time. Then he said, This isn't you. Maybe it is now. Sarah wouldn't want this. I started the truck, and her kids forgot she existed. We drove back in silence. At my apartment, Jimmy got out of his truck and stood by my door. I'm with you, he said. Whatever you need, but don't become someone you can't live with. I can live with a lot more than they think. He nodded slowly, got back in his truck, drove away. Inside, I pulled out the old cardboard box from the back of the closet in the second bedroom. Construction documents, photos, reports. 5 years of evidence that I'd kept because I'm the kind of man who keeps records. My phone rang. David again. What? Ashley wants you to know she's filing a restraining order for harassment. I haven't contacted her once. You called Jimmy. You made a scene. Her therapist says it was traumatic. Her therapist? Yes. And we're going to need you to sign over the apartment. We've talked to a lawyer. If you don't cooperate, we'll pursue it legally. Ashley's family has resources. Tell Ashley's family to get comfortable with disappointment. Dad, why are you being like this? Like what? Like a man who won't hand over his home because your wife demanded it? Like someone who can't just be happy for us. I was happy for you, until you let her hit me. She barely touched you. I hung up, stared at the phone, watched it light up again with his call. Didn't answer. They forgot who built the floor they were standing on. But I was about to remind them. Morning came with more calls I didn't answer. I went to work instead. 32 years with Local 147, Carpenters Union. I'd moved from field work to occasional consulting after my knees started going, but I still knew every foreman in the city, every inspector, every building commissioner. At the Union Hall, I found Marcus and Tony at the coffee station. Heard about your boy's wedding, Marcus said. That true? News travels fast in small circles. Yeah. What are you going to do? What I should have done when they started acting like I was an embarrassment. Tony raised an eyebrow, which is, remind them where they come from. I spent the morning making calls, first to the city building department, requesting a records review on the Riverside Heights development. Then, to an independent inspector I'd worked with before, a woman named Patricia, who hated corner-cutting developers more than I did. Give me 3 days, she said. If what you're saying is true, I'll find it. Next, I drove across town to the construction yard where I'd worked for 15 years before Sarah got sick. The owner, Frank, was still there, older and grayer, but still running the place. Heard you had trouble, he said. I need to know something, I said. That payoff from Riverside Heights. Did it go through company books? Off the books. They paid us cash to keep quiet about the concrete issues. Why? Because I'm not keeping quiet anymore. Frank studied me. That'll blow back on me too. I know, but it'll blow back on them harder. He thought about it, then nodded. I never liked being paid to ignore problems anyway. Do what you need to. By afternoon, I had documentation, photos of the poured foundation with visible gaps in the rebar, reports I'd filed that disappeared. emails from the site supervisor telling me to stop making noise. A paper trail that proved my son's house was a disaster waiting to happen. Jimmy called. "You really doing this? Already in motion? Your daughter's been posting about you online, calling you abusive, saying you ruined the wedding." "Let her talk. She's got 50,000 followers. They're eating it up." I didn't care about followers. I cared about foundations. The real kind, the ones you build with steel and concrete and sweat. The kind my kids used to understand before they traded them for the appearance of them. That night, David showed up at my door. No Ashley, no backup. Just him, looking tired and angry. "What do you want?" I said through the chain lock. "To understand why you're doing this." "Doing what?" "Whatever you're doing, Ashley's family is getting calls from the city building department. Something about our house. Your house has structural issues. The foundation is compromised. You're lying. I'm the one who built it. I know what went wrong." He stared at me. "You're sabotaging us." "I'm exposing the truth. There's a difference. This is revenge, for the wedding, for Ashley setting boundaries." "Boundaries." I laughed. She slapped me and demanded my home. "That's not boundaries. That's assault and extortion." "You're exaggerating. There's video, 20 different videos. Your wife's assault is trending on social media. But sure, I'm exaggerating." He shifted his weight. I could see the conflict in his face, the same face that used to look up at me with trust when he was little. "What do you want?" he asked. "An apology?" "Fine. I'm sorry we made you feel bad." "That's not an apology." "What do you want me to say?" "Nothing. I want you to understand what you've become, but I don't think you can." "I became successful. That's what you wanted." "I wanted you to be decent. Success without decency is just being a well-dressed thief." He turned to leave, stopped. "Ashley's lawyer says we can have you declared incompetent. Take the apartment that way." I felt something cold settle in my chest. "She actually said that to you, and you came here to threaten me with it." "It's not a threat. It's an option. Get off my property." "This is what you're choosing. Pride over family." "This is what I'm choosing. You let your wife slap me, demand my home, and now threaten to declare me incompetent, and I'm the one choosing wrong?" He left without another word. I called Patricia. "How fast can you do the inspection?" "I can be there tomorrow morning." "Do it." I spent the night going through old photos. Sarah holding baby David, Sarah teaching him to read, Sarah at his high school graduation, already sick but smiling. I wondered what she'd think about all this, if she'd tell me to be the bigger person, to forgive, to remember he's my son. But Sarah wasn't here, and her son had forgotten she existed. At midnight, my daughter posted a video, exposing my toxic father, a thread. I watched 30 seconds before turning it off. She'd edited in old photos, out of context, making it look like I'd always been angry, always been difficult. Comments poured in supporting her, strangers calling me abusive, telling her to cut me off. They wanted me out of their lives. They were about to get what they wanted, but not the way they expected. Patricia called at 7 a.m. "You were right. This is bad." She sent me photos. Cracks in the foundation, visible settlement, improper drainage, concrete that was already degrading, textbook corner cutting. "I'm filing the report today," she said. "This development is getting a full mandatory inspection, every house." "How long until it goes public?" 3 days, maybe 4. Once it hits the building department's public records, it's open season. I thanked her and hung up. Then I did something I'm not proud of. I contacted a reporter I knew from when the building commissioner corruption scandal broke 5 years ago, sent her the photos, gave her the story. "How certain are you about this?" she asked. "I built these foundations. I filed complaints at the time that were ignored. I have documentation. This is going to be big." "Good." She hung up to start writing. I sat in my kitchen and waited. The article went live at noon. Luxury development built on lies, whistleblower reveals. Safety concerns ignored for profit. My name wasn't in it, but the Riverside Heights development was. Photos of cracks, expert opinions, quotes from Patricia about structural integrity. David called 15 seconds after I saw the headline. What did you do? I told the truth. Our house is on the news. Ashley's father is on the phone with lawyers right now. Maybe he should be on the phone with the developer who cut corners. You did this on purpose. You wanted to destroy us. I wanted to expose a dangerous development. If you happen to own a house there, that's unfortunate. Unfortunate? We just bought this place. We're ruined. You'll figure it out. You're resourceful, self-made, right? I hung up. Within an hour, 3 news vans were parked outside the development. By evening, the story had gone regional. Newlyweds among dozens affected by faulty construction. They interviewed Ashley, who cried on camera about their dream home being destroyed by vindictive people. They didn't interview me. My daughter posted, "My father is a monster. He's destroying my brother's life out of spite. This is elder abuse. He needs help." Jimmy showed up at my door. "This is getting out of control." Is it? Or is it finally in control? You made your point. The house is worthless. Their investment is gone. You can stop now. I haven't started. He looked at me like he didn't recognize me. Maybe he didn't. Maybe I didn't recognize myself. "What else are you planning?" he asked. I showed him the folder I'd been building. Information about Ashley's family, her father's business, her mother's charity foundation. "That's private information," Jimmy said. "It's public record. I just know where to look." "Don't do this." They tried to take my home. They assaulted me. They're trying to paint me as incompetent and abusive. And you want me to stop? I want you to remember who you are. I know who I am. I'm the man they forgot about, the one who built everything they're standing on, and I'm tired of being forgotten. Jimmy left. I kept digging. Ashley's mother ran a charity for at-risk youth. Big fundraisers, lots of publicity, photos with politicians. I called in a favor from an old friend who worked in non-profit accounting. "Pull the 990 forms for Bright Futures Foundation," I told him. "Tell me what looks wrong." 3 days later, he called back. "Administrative costs are through the roof. 90% of donations go to overhead. Salaries mostly. Almost nothing reaches actual programs. Is that illegal? Not technically, but it's unethical as hell. If the public knew, she'd be finished." I thanked him and started making calls to journalists. David came to my apartment in person. He looked worse than I'd ever seen him. Thin, exhausted, desperate. "Please," he said through the door. "Please stop." "Stop what?" "Whatever you're doing. The house was enough. You made your point." "Did I? Have you apologized? Has your wife?" "We're losing everything. The house is condemned. Ashley's family is being investigated. Her mother is being questioned about the charity. We can't afford rent anywhere decent. We're moving back in with her parents." "Sounds cozy." "Dad, please, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I let her slap you. I'm sorry about the apartment. I was wrong. Just please stop." I opened the door, looked at him, saw my son, but also saw the man who'd chosen his wife over his father. Money over integrity, image over truth. "You're sorry because you're losing," I said, "not because you were wrong." "I'm sorry for all of it. Say you're sorry or get out of my house." He stared at me. "What?" "That's what you told me, at your wedding. Apologize or get out. So I'm giving you the same choice. Mean it or leave." I just said I was sorry. "You said words. You didn't mean them." He turned and walked away. At the stairs, he stopped. "I'm not coming back," he said. "Good." He left. I closed the door. Stood there in the silence of my apartment, feeling the weight of what I'd become. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. "This is Thomas Caldwell, Ashley's father. We need to talk." "Go ahead. You've made your point. You've hurt us. Now it's time to discuss terms. Terms? What you want to stop this campaign? I want you to have raised your daughter better. I'm offering you money. I don't want your money. Everyone wants money. Name your price. I hung up. He called back immediately. I didn't answer. That night, something happened I didn't expect. As I was taking out the trash, 2 men were waiting in the alley. Big guys, expensive suits, trying to look casual. You need to stop causing problems for the Caldwell family, one said. Or what? Or things get difficult for you. I looked at them, really looked, gym muscles, probably private security, definitely not street fighters. I worked construction for 30 years, I said. Had 3 ribs broken in a scaffolding collapse. Broke my hand in a concrete mixer accident. Took a steel beam to the back when a crane operator missed his mark. You think you two scare me? They looked at each other. This is your warning, the other one said. Tell Ashley's father that sending hired muscle to threaten a 60-year-old man is a great look. Very classy. I walked past them. One grabbed my arm. I turned, faster than he expected, and he let go. Don't, I said. They let me pass. But I knew this wasn't over. Back in my apartment, I called Jimmy. I need your help. Finally, you ready to stop? No, I need you to teach me how to fight better. Silence on the line. Then, you're serious. They sent people to threaten me. It's going to get physical. I need to be ready. This is insane. This is necessary. I'll be there tomorrow, he said, but we're going to talk about where this ends. It ends when they understand what they took from me. They took respect. You're taking their lives. They took everything I built. I'm just collecting. We hung up. I stood at the window, looking out at the city, and wondered if Jimmy was right, if I was becoming someone I couldn't live with. Then I remembered my daughter's post, calling me toxic. My son letting his wife slap me. Ashley demanding my home. Her father sending men to intimidate me. And I stopped wondering. The Caldwell charity scandal broke on a Tuesday. I didn't release the information. The journalist did her job. But I'd given her the trail to follow. Bright Futures Foundation under investigation. Where did the money go? The article detailed years of inflated salaries, questionable expenses, and programs that existed mostly on paper. Ashley's mother, Victoria, was named specifically. Photos of her at galas, wearing designer clothes, standing next to politicians. Within hours, the foundation's board called an emergency meeting. By evening, Victoria had resigned. By midnight, major donors were demanding refunds. David called me. She did this for her community. She helped people. She helped herself. 90% overhead isn't charity, it's theft with better marketing. You destroyed her reputation. I exposed the truth. If her reputation can't survive truth, it wasn't worth having. Ashley's mother is in the hospital. Stress-induced panic attack. I felt something. Not quite guilt, not quite satisfaction. Something colder. That's unfortunate, I said. We're not bad people. You're not good ones either. He hung up. I sat in the dark and felt the weight of it. Jimmy came by that evening for our first training session. Not real fighting, just basics. How to protect myself, how to use an opponent's momentum, how to stay balanced. You sure about this? He asked as we worked through blocks and counters. They're not going to stop. Ashley's family has money and pride. That's a dangerous combination. So do you, apparently. The pride part, anyway. We trained for 2 hours. My knees ached, my back hurt, but I felt stronger, more ready. When does this end? Jimmy asked as he was leaving. When they stop coming after me. They're not coming after you, you're going after them. They started it, and you're finishing it, but what's left when you're done? I didn't have an answer. My daughter posted again, this time with photos of my apartment, things she'd taken without permission during a visit months ago. This is how he lives. Hoarding, refusing to let go, classic signs of mental decline. The comments were brutal. Strangers diagnosing me with dementia, narcissism, abuse disorders, people saying I should be in a facility. I called her. She didn't answer. I texted, "Take the post down." She replied, "Or what? You'll destroy my life too." "I'll show people your real self." "Good luck. I'm the victim here. Everyone knows it." She was right. Online, she was the poor daughter with the toxic father. The narrative was set. I couldn't fight that, but I could fight what was real. I started documenting everything. Every call, every threat, every attempt to take my apartment. I contacted my own lawyer, set up protections, made sure the deed to my apartment was locked down tight. "They're going to come after you hard," the lawyer said. "Be ready." 2 days later, Ashley's father filed a lawsuit. Intentional infliction of emotional distress, claiming I'd deliberately targeted his family, destroyed their reputation, caused psychological harm. The lawsuit was garbage, but defending it would cost money I didn't have. Jimmy helped me find a pro bono lawyer through the union, a young guy named Tom who specialized in frivolous lawsuits. "This won't hold up," Tom said, reading through the complaint, "but it'll drag out. They're trying to bleed you financially." "Can they win?" "Not if we fight it right." "Then fight it." The lawsuit made the news. Father and son in legal battle over wedding incident. The story painted me as vindictive, unstable, unable to let go. My son gave an interview, carefully coached, talking about his concern for my mental health. I watched it alone in my apartment, saw him lie with a straight face, saw Ashley next to him, playing the concerned daughter-in-law, saw the interviewer eat it up. Jimmy called. "You okay?" "No." "Want company?" "No." I hung up and sat in the dark. At midnight, someone tried to break into my apartment. I heard the doorknob turning, saw the shadow under the door. I grabbed the tire iron I'd started keeping by the bed and moved to the door quietly. The lock held. The person outside cursed, tried again, then left. I called the police. They came, took a report, said they'd patrol more often, but I knew they wouldn't catch anyone. The next morning, I found my truck keyed. Every panel, deep scratches, profanity carved into the hood. I took photos, added them to my documentation, sent copies to Tom. "This is escalating," Tom said. "We need to file for a restraining order." "Against who?" "I don't know who's doing it." "Against the Caldwells. Make them stay away." "That'll just make me look weaker." "Or smarter." I thought about it, about Sarah, about what she'd say. She'd tell me to be smart, to protect myself, to remember I'm one person against a family with resources. "File it," I said. The restraining order went through. The Caldwells had to stay 300 feet away. David called, furious. "You got a restraining order against my wife's family. They tried to break into my apartment. They vandalized my truck. I'm protecting myself." "You're paranoid. Show me the alternative explanation." He couldn't. We hung up. My daughter posted again. "My father got a restraining order against my brother's in-laws because they asked him to be reasonable. This is what mental illness looks like." More comments, more strangers diagnosing me, more people saying I needed help. I turned off my phone and went to work. At the union hall, guys I'd known for decades looked at me differently. Some supportive, some wary, some thinking I'd lost it. Marcus pulled me aside. "You good?" "Define good." "You know what I mean. This thing with your kids, it's getting heavy." "It was always heavy. Now it's just visible." "You need to end it." "I didn't start it." "Doesn't matter. You need to be the one who stops it." But I couldn't stop it, because every time I thought about stopping, I remembered the slap, the demand for my home, my daughter editing me out of photos, my son choosing his wife over his father, and I kept going. They came for me on a Thursday night. 3 men, not the same ones from before. These were harder. Street guys, not gym guys. They caught me leaving the union hall, late shift, parking lot empty. Thomas Caldwell sends his regards, one said. I dropped my toolbox and ran, not because I was scared, though I was, but because I knew I couldn't win 3-on-1. They chased me through the industrial park, past closed warehouses and empty lots. I'd worked this area for years, knew every alley, every shortcut, but my knees were shot, and they were faster. I made it to the old lumber yard, climbed a fence I'd built 15 years ago, dropped into the yard where stacks of treated lumber created a maze. They followed. Come out, old man, one called. We just want to talk. I found a 2x4, gripped it tight and waited. They split up. Mistake. One came around the lumber stack alone. I swung, connected with his knee. He went down screaming. The other two rushed me. I got one more hit in before they grabbed the board. Then it was fists and boots and me trying to protect my head. I took hits to my ribs, my back, my arms. Felt something crack. Then headlights. A truck. Jimmy's truck, engine roaring as he drove straight at us. The men ran. Jimmy skidded to a stop, jumped out, helped me up. How did you know? I gasped. Been following you for 3 days. Figured they'd try something. He drove me to the ER. Cracked rib, bruised kidney, split lip. The doctor wanted to admit me. I refused. You need to file a police report, Jimmy said. And say what? 3 men I can't identify attacked me. They said Caldwell sent them. I can't prove it. So they just get away with it. I looked at him. No, they don't. He drove me home, helped me up the stairs, got me settled. This has to stop, he said. It will. When I'm done. Then I'll be done. He left. I sat in the dark with my cracked rib and my split lip and felt something shift inside me. Not fear, not anger, something colder and clearer. They wanted war. I'd give them war. I spent the next 2 days healing and planning, made calls, called in every favor I had, union guys, building inspectors, city officials I'd worked with over 3 decades. I need information on Thomas Caldwell's business, I told Marcus. Properties, investments, projects. Why? Because I'm going to dismantle him. Marcus was quiet. Then, this is beyond revenge now. This is survival. He sent me the information. Caldwell owned commercial properties, restaurants, 2 car dealerships, a construction company that had won several city contracts. I dug into each one, found code violations, safety complaints, labor disputes, nothing illegal, but plenty questionable. The kind of stuff that looks bad in the light. I compiled it all and sent it to the same journalist who'd covered the Foundation story. She called me. You're really going after this whole family. I'm showing people the truth. Or you're on a vendetta. Can't it be both? She laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. I'll look into it, but if this is just revenge, I won't print it. It's not revenge, it's justice. That's what everyone says. 2 days later, her article ran. Caldwell family empire built on questionable practices. Details about code violations, unpaid workers, safety complaints swept under bureaucratic rugs. Thomas Caldwell gave an interview calling it a witch hunt. I'm being targeted by a man who can't accept that his son grew beyond him. The public was split. Half saw me as vindictive, half saw the Caldwells as corrupt. Social media turned into a battlefield. My daughter posted, "He won't stop until he's destroyed everyone I love. This is domestic terrorism." That word, terrorism, it spread. People started calling me a domestic terrorist, a threat, dangerous. Jimmy came over. You need to hear this. The Caldwells are filing for a restraining order against you now. Claiming you're stalking them, harassing them, threatening their safety. I haven't contacted them once. Doesn't matter. They have lawyers. They'll make it stick. Let them try. They're also going after the apartment again. Different angle. Claiming you obtained it through fraud decades ago. Something about improper documentation. I felt my chest tighten. That's a lie. Prove it. I spent that night going through old papers, found the original deed, the mortgage papers, the title transfer from when I paid it off. Everything legitimate. Tom reviewed it. You're clean. But they're going to drag this out. Cost you money you don't have. Then I'll find money. How? I didn't answer. But I was thinking about the second bedroom, Sarah's sewing room, full of her things I couldn't part with. Worth maybe 10,000 if I sold it all. I couldn't. Not yet. David called. They know where you work. Ashley's uncle is on the city council. He's pushing to revoke your union membership. On what grounds? Creating a hostile work environment. Being a danger to others. I've never been a danger to anyone at work. You're a danger now. I hung up. That night I couldn't sleep. Every sound was someone trying to break in. Every shadow was an attacker. My cracked rib ached. My hands shook. At 3 a.m., I sat at the kitchen table and wrote a letter to Sarah. Not to send, but to say the things I needed to say. I don't know if you'd be proud of me or ashamed. I don't know if I'm protecting what we built or destroying it. I don't know when I became this person, but I can't stop, because if I stop, they win. And if they win, everything we worked for was meaningless. I didn't finish the letter, just sat there until dawn. At 7 a.m., my phone rang. Unknown number. This is Victoria Caldwell, Ashley's mother. I almost hung up. Didn't. Yes? I want to meet. Just us. No lawyers, no family. Just two people talking. Why would I do that? Because this has to end, and I think you know that. I met her at a diner on neutral ground. She looked tired, older than her photos, wearing normal clothes, not gala outfits. Thank you for coming, she said. What do you want? To apologize. I waited. Ashley was wrong to slap you. I was wrong to support her demand for your apartment. We were wrong about a lot of things. Okay. But you've gone too far. The foundation, the house, my husband's business. You've destroyed us. I exposed the truth. You exposed carefully selected pieces of truth. Context-free. Designed to cause maximum damage. She wasn't wrong. Why are you really here? I asked. To beg. For my family. For my daughter. Please stop. I looked at her. Saw a mother protecting her child. The way I'd tried to protect mine. Will you tell Ashley to apologize? I asked. She won't. Then we're done here. I stood to leave. What if I give you what you want? Victoria said. What would that be? I sat back down. Thought about it. What did I want? I want my son to remember who raised him. I want my daughter to stop lying about me. I want your family to leave me alone. Done. I'll make it happen. You can't, because they don't respect you either. She flinched. I'd hit something true. Then what do you want? She asked. I want you all to understand what you took from me, and I don't think you can. I left. She didn't follow. That night, someone tried to burn my apartment building. The fire department got there fast. Minimal damage. But the message was clear. I called Jimmy. It's time. Time for what? To end this my way. How? I'm going to make them lose everything they actually care about. And what's that? I told him. He was quiet for a long time. That's not just revenge, he said. That's destruction. Yeah, I can't help with that. I know. We hung up. I sat alone in my apartment and planned the final move. The thing they didn't know, the thing nobody knew, was that I'd never transferred ownership of the land under my son's house. When the development was being built, I bought the lot through a construction company I partly owned. Planned to give it to David as a wedding gift eventually. But after Sarah died, I held on to it, kept meaning to transfer it, never did. When David bought his house, he bought the structure, but I still owned the land, and I'd never told him. I pulled the deed from my safe deposit box, looked at it, felt the weight of what I was about to do. Tom reviewed it. This is legitimate. You own the land, which means you can legally reclaim it. What happens to the house? It's complicated, but essentially, without land rights, the house is worthless. They'd have to move it or buy the land from you. And if I refuse to sell, then they lose everything. Do it. Tom filed the paperwork. It took 3 days to process. When it went through, when the official notice was served to David and Ashley, I felt something break inside me. Not guilt, something else. The last thread connecting me to the man I used to be. David called, screaming, "You own the land? You've owned it this whole time?" "Yes." "Why didn't you tell me? I was going to give it to you, as a gift, when you were ready." "When I was ready? What does that mean?" "When you remembered where you came from." "So this is a test? My whole life is a test?" "No, your whole life was a gift. You just forgot that. Take it back. Take the land. We'll move." "I'm not giving it back." "Then what do you want?" "I want you to understand that everything you have, I built. Your education, your opportunities, your connections, your house, all of it. Me. And Ashley, you built her too." "I built the son who was too weak to stop her from hitting his father." Silence. Then, "I hate you." "I know." He hung up. 2 hours later, the moving trucks arrived at his house. I drove by, watched from a distance, saw furniture and boxes being loaded, saw Ashley crying on the lawn, saw David's face, empty and broken. I felt nothing, or everything. I couldn't tell anymore. My daughter posted, "My father evicted my brother from his home. This man is dangerous. Someone needs to stop him." The comments were vicious, but so were the counter-comments. People were starting to dig into the backstory, the slap, the apartment demand, the assault. The narrative was shifting. Not enough to make me a hero, but enough to make people question who the villain really was. Tom called. "The Caldwells are negotiating. They want to buy the land." "No." "They're offering twice what it's worth." "No." 3 times. "I don't want their money. I want the land." "Why? What are you going to do with it?" "Remind them what happens when you take things from people who build them." I hired a demolition company, not the fancy kind, the kind that works fast and cheap. Told them I wanted the house gone. "That's a nice house," the foreman said. "It's a reminder I don't need." He shrugged. Gave me a quote. I paid it. The demolition was scheduled for the following Tuesday. David got a lawyer, filed an emergency injunction, lost. I owned the land. I had the right to demolish anything on it. Jimmy called. "Tell me you're not doing this." "I'm doing this." "Why?" "Because they need to see what they destroyed." "What they destroyed, or what you're destroying?" "Both." "This is wrong." "This is necessary." "No, it's not. You're becoming the villain they said you were." "Then I'm finally living up to their expectations." He hung up. Didn't call back. The day before the demolition, Victoria Caldwell came to my apartment, alone. No security, no lawyers, just her. "Please," she said, "don't do this." "Why not?" "Because you're better than this. You don't know me. I know you raised 2 children alone. I know you worked yourself to exhaustion. I know you're not a monster." "Then what am I?" "A father who's hurt." I laughed. Cold. "Hurt doesn't cover it." "Then what does?" "Erased. They erased me. My daughter literally edits me out of her photos. My son let his wife hit me and demand my home. They tried to have me declared incompetent. They sent men to attack me. And you want to talk about hurt?" She had tears in her eyes. "I'm sorry for all of it, but destroying that house won't fix anything. It's not about fixing, it's about balance." "Balance? They destroyed my dignity. I'm destroying what they value. Their home, their image, their status, their sense of invincibility." She stared at me. "You've thought this through. Every step. And after? When the house is gone? What then?" I didn't answer, because I didn't know. She left. I sat in the dark and waited for morning. The demolition crew arrived at dawn. I was there, standing across the street, watching. David and Ashley pulled up 10 minutes later. She was screaming before she even got out of the car. He was just standing there, looking at the excavator, looking at the house, looking at me. "You can't do this," Ashley shouted. "I can," I said. "I am." She ran toward the house. The foreman stopped her. "Ma'am, you can't be near the work site. That's my house. It's on his land. We have permits." She turned to me. The foreman tensed. I stayed calm. "That's a threat," I said. "In front of witnesses. Keep talking." David grabbed her arm, pulled her back. "Don't. He's destroying our home. It was never our home. It was his gift we treated like a right." She stared at him. "Are you defending him?" "No, I'm accepting what I did." He looked at me then. Really looked, and I saw it. Recognition. Maybe regret. Too late for it to matter. "Dad," he said, "don't." "I'm sorry. I know it doesn't mean anything now, but I'm sorry." "You're right. It doesn't mean anything." The excavator started up. Ashley screamed. David just watched, face empty. The first wall came down at 8:47 a.m., the second at 8:51. By noon, the house was rubble. I stood there the whole time, watched every brick fall, felt each impact in my chest. When it was done, when there was nothing left but dust and broken pieces, I walked away. David didn't follow. Ashley was sitting on the curb, crying. My daughter pulled up at the end, filming on her phone. I got in my truck and drove home. The video went viral. Father demolishes son's house in revenge plot. 10 million views in 12 hours. Comments split between support and horror. My daughter's post, "He's destroyed everything. We have nothing left. Are you happy now?" I wasn't happy, but I wasn't sad either. I was empty. Jimmy came over that night, didn't say anything, just sat with me. "You did it," he finally said. "Yeah. How do you feel?" "I don't know." "Was it worth it?" I thought about it, about the slap, about the years raising them, about Sarah's funeral, standing alone because they were too busy with their lives, about being edited out of photos, about men trying to beat me in an alley. "Ask me tomorrow," I said. He left. I sat alone. At midnight, someone knocked. I looked through the peephole. David. I opened the door. "I need to tell you something," he said. I waited. "We were going to take the apartment. Ashley's father had a lawyer draw up papers. We were going to have you declared mentally unfit. Take you home, put you in a facility." I felt it settle. The truth I'd suspected but hadn't wanted to believe. "When?" I asked. "Next month. But you destroyed the house first. Destroyed everything. And now we can't afford the lawyers." "So you came to tell me this, why?" "Because I need you to know I was going to do it. I was going to take your home, your independence, everything. Because Ashley wanted it, and I couldn't say no to her." "And now?" "Now she's left me. Her family blames me for not controlling you. They've cut us off financially. The house is gone. My job is gone because her uncle got me fired. And I have nothing. I should have felt satisfaction, triumph, victory. I felt nothing." "You made your choices," I said. "So did you." "Yeah." We stood there, father and son, strangers. "I won't ask for forgiveness," he said. "Good. But I'll tell you this. You were right. I forgot where I came from. I forgot who built everything I had. And you reminded me in the only way that would get through. By destroying you. By showing me who I really was." He turned to leave. Stopped. "Mom would be ashamed of both of us," he said. "I know." He left. I closed the door. Stood there in the dark. My phone buzzed. Victoria Caldwell. "You in. We're leaving town. The business is sold. The foundation is closed. Ashley and David are divorcing. You destroyed everything. You started it. No, we escalated it. You finished it." She hung up. I sat in the kitchen. Looked around at the apartment I'd fought so hard to keep. The walls I'd painted, the floor I'd laid, the home I'd built, it felt empty. At dawn, I drove to the lot where the house had been. The rubble was still there, waiting to be hauled away. I stood in the center of it, looked at what I'd done. Jimmy found me there an hour later. "You need to see this," he said. He showed me his phone, my daughter's latest post. But it was different. No accusations, no drama. I lied about my father. I edited him out of my life because I was ashamed of where I came from. He wasn't perfect, but he was there. He raised us alone. He worked himself to exhaustion for us, and we repaid him by trying to take everything he had. I'm sorry. I don't expect forgiveness, but I need to tell the truth. Below it, thousands of comments, some supportive, some angry, some just sad. "She took down all the other posts," Jimmy said. "Deleted everything." I handed back the phone. "It doesn't change anything." "Doesn't it?" "No, because it's not about posts or comments or public opinion. It's about what they did, what I did, what we all became." "So what now?" I looked at the rubble. "Now I live with it." That's it. That's all there is. The storm hit 3 days later. Real storm, not metaphorical. Heavy rain, wind, lightning. The kind that knocks out power and floods streets. I was in my apartment when someone started pounding on the door. Not knocking, pounding. I looked through the peephole. David and my daughter. Both soaked. Both furious. I opened the door. "Her memory isn't, and you're destroying it." David followed her in. "We came to stop you." "Stop me from what?" "From whatever you're planning next. We know you're not done." I closed the door. "I am done." "We understand," David shouted. "We were wrong. We hurt you. We tried to take your home. We chose money over you. We get it." "Do you?" "Yes. And now we're here to make you understand what you did." They came at me then. Both of them, not coordinated, not smart, just angry children who'd forgotten their father used to work with his hands. My daughter swung first. I caught her wrist, turned her, pushed her toward the couch. She stumbled but stayed on her feet. David came next, faster, heavier. I blocked, the way Jimmy taught me, used his momentum to send him into the wall. He hit hard enough to dent the drywall. "Stop," I said. They didn't stop. My daughter grabbed a lamp. David grabbed a chair. They were really going to do it, really going to attack me in my own home. I grabbed the tire iron from behind the door. I said stop. They stopped. Stared at the iron in my hand. Stared at me. "You'd hit us?" my daughter asked. "I'd defend myself." "From your own children?" "You stopped being my children when you tried to take my home." David lowered the chair. "What happened to you?" "What happened to me? You let your wife slap me in public. You demanded my home. You tried to have me declared insane. You sent men to beat me. And you're asking what happened to me. We were wrong. We admitted it. What more do you want?" "I want you to feel what I felt, standing in that hall, face burning from the slap, watching you choose her over me. I want you to feel that." "We do feel it. We've lost everything. Our money, our home, our reputation. We feel it." "No, you feel consequences. That's different." I put down the tire iron. "Get out." They didn't move. "Get out of my home." "This isn't your home," my daughter said. "This is a prison you built around yourself." "Get out." "Mum would hate what you've become." I grabbed her arm, not hard, just enough to move her toward the door. David stepped between us. "Don't touch her." "Then get her out of my home." "We're not leaving until you hear us." I looked at them, really looked, saw scared kids, not adults, saw my children, not my enemies, and I felt something crack. "Say what you came to say." My daughter sat on the couch. "We deserve what you did to us. The house, the exposure, all of it, but you're not innocent either." "I never claimed to be. You raised us to believe money was evil, That success was selling out, that staying in your class was noble. You made us ashamed of wanting more. I raised you to have integrity. You raised us to be afraid of ambition, afraid of change, afraid of becoming anything other than what you approved. That's not true. It is true. And when we finally broke free, when we finally achieved something, you couldn't stand it, because it proved you wrong. I felt anger rising. I couldn't stand watching you become people who value image over character. And you became someone who values revenge over family. You stopped being family first. David spoke up. We both did. Both things are true. We betrayed you. You destroyed us. We're even. This isn't about being even. Then what is it about? I didn't answer, because I didn't know anymore. We came here to fight you, my daughter said, to make you feel what we felt. But I'm tired. Aren't you tired? I was. God, I was tired. What do you want from me? I asked. Nothing, David said. We're leaving town, starting over somewhere else, away from the rubble, away from you. But before we go, we needed you to know that you won. You broke us. You made your point, and you were right, about a lot of things. But you were also wrong. Wrong about what? About whether destroying us would make you whole again. They stood, headed for the door. Wait, I said. They stopped. They waited. She made me promise to let you go, to let you become your own people, make your own mistakes, live your own lives. Even if it hurt to watch, especially if it hurt to watch. And? My daughter asked. And I broke that promise. I held on too tight, even after she died. I kept trying to control who you became. I just did it by judging you instead of guiding you. Silence. But you broke your promise too, I said. The one you made at her funeral. To take care of each other. To remember where you came from. To honor the sacrifice she made. You broke that the minute you chose image over integrity. So we all failed her, David said. Yeah. More silence. Rain hammering the windows. I'm not asking for forgiveness, I said. But I need you to understand. What I did because you forgot me. Not just forgot about me. Forgot I existed. Edited me out like I was an embarrassment. And that hurt more than anything else. My daughter had tears on her face. I know. Do you? Yes, because that's how we felt when you chose revenge over reconciliation. When you demolished the house instead of talking to us. When you became exactly what we accused you of being. We stood there, 3 people in a small apartment, family and not family. Goodbye, Dad, David said. They left. The door closed. I stood in the silence. At midnight, I went to the lot where the house had been. The rubble was gone now, just empty land in the rain. I stood in the center of it, feeling the storm, feeling nothing and everything. Jimmy found me there. Again, always finding me. You're going to catch pneumonia, he said. I don't care. Yeah, you do. He pulled me back to his truck, drove me home, made me change into dry clothes. What are you doing? He asked. Ending it. How? I'm selling the land. Donating the money to charity. Real charity, not the kind Victoria ran. And then I move forward, without them. That's not moving forward. That's moving alone. Same thing, isn't it? He didn't answer. I spent the next week putting things in order, sold the land, donated the money, cleaned out Sarah's sewing room finally, after 12 years. Gave her things to charity, kept one quilt she'd made. That was enough. My lawyer called. The Caldwells want to drop all lawsuits, clean slate, if you agree to stop talking to the press. Agreed. Just like that? I'm done. The lawsuits disappeared. The news cycle moved on. Social media found new drama to feed on. I went back to work. Union jobs, simple work, building things instead of breaking them. Jimmy checked in every day. You good? Getting there. Liar. Yeah. But slowly, I was. Getting there. Not whole, but getting there. One day, 6 weeks after the house came down, I got a letter from David. Not a long letter, just a few lines. I understand now, not why you did it, but that you had to. I'm sorry it came to this. I hope someday we can talk without destroying each other. Until then, I hope you find peace. I know I'm looking for it too. I folded the letter, put it in my wallet. Didn't respond. Peace. Maybe someday. But not today. The keys felt heavy in my pocket as I walked across the wasteland where my son's house used to stand, 3 months since the demolition. The lot was cleared now, ready for whatever came next. Which was nothing, because I owned it and I had no plans. Jimmy met me there, like we'd arranged. "This it?" he asked. "This is it." We stood in the center of the empty space. You couldn't tell a house had ever been here. Couldn't tell lives had been destroyed here. Just dirt and the memory of what I'd done. "Ashley filed for divorce yesterday," Jimmy said. "Made it official." "I know." "Your daughter moved to Oregon. New job. Fresh start." "I know that too." "And David?" "Haven't heard from him since the letter." Jimmy was quiet. Then, "You accomplished what you set out to do. You made them understand. You took everything they valued. You proved your point." "Yeah. So why do you look like you lost?" I didn't answer right away. Just stood there, feeling the weight of it all. "Because I did lose," I finally said. "I lost my kids. Lost any chance at being a grandfather someday. Lost the person I used to be. Lost Sarah's memory of who I was supposed to become after she died." "You also lost your dignity. At that wedding. They took that from you. And I took everything from them in return. That's not balance. That's mutually assured destruction. So what now?" I pulled the deed from my pocket. The land deed. The thing that started all this. Now I give it away. To who? Habitat for Humanity. They can build something real here. Something that actually helps people. Jimmy took the deed, looked at it, handed it back. "You sure?" "I'm sure." We walked back to his truck. At the curb, he stopped. "You know the worst part," he said. "What?" "They'll never really understand. They'll think they do. They'll tell themselves they learned something, but they won't feel what you felt. Not really, because to feel that, they'd have to love someone the way you loved them. And I don't think they're capable of that yet. Maybe they'll learn. Maybe. Or maybe you destroyed that capacity in them when you destroyed their house." I didn't respond, because he might be right. That night, I transferred the deed, made it official. The land wasn't mine anymore, wasn't anyone's problem anymore. I sat in my apartment, in the silence I'd fought so hard to keep, and realized the silence wasn't worth it. At midnight, I drove to the old lot one last time, stood in the center, closed my eyes. "Sarah," I said to the empty air. "I kept the apartment. I kept my dignity. I kept my word about not letting them destroy me. But I destroyed them instead. And I don't know if you'd forgive me for that. I don't know if I'll forgive myself." The wind picked up. Cold. Empty. I opened my eyes. The lot was just a lot. The past was just the past. The future was whatever came next. I got in my truck and drove home. At my building, 3 people were waiting. David, my daughter, Ashley, surprisingly. I parked, got out slowly, stood facing them. "We came to say something," David said. "So say it. You were right, about the house, about the corner cutting, about everything being built on lies. The county inspector confirmed it. The whole development was unsafe. If we'd stayed, if we'd raised kids there, they could have been hurt." I waited. "You saved us," my daughter said, "by destroying us." "I didn't save you, I punished you." "Both things are true," Ashley said, quietly, different from the woman who'd slapped me. "Why are you here?" I asked her. "To apologize. For the slap, for demanding your home, for being the catalyst that destroyed your family." "You didn't destroy my family. We all did that together." She nodded. "I'm moving back home, Not with David. Just near my parents. To figure out who I am when I'm not trying to be someone I'm not. Good luck with that. She left, just walked away, got in her car, drove off. David and my daughter stayed. We're not asking to be let back in, David said. We know that's not possible. But we wanted you to know that we get it now. All of it. And we're sorry. Okay. That's it, just okay. What do you want me to say? That I forgive you? That we can go back to being a family? We can't. Too much damage, too much anger, too much truth. So this is it, my daughter said. This is how it ends. This is how it ends. They turned to leave. I watched them walk away. Father watching his children disappear, maybe forever. Wait, I called. They stopped, turned. Your mother. She left letters. For both of you. For when you turned 30. I was supposed to give them to you then, but I kept them. Out of spite. Out of hurt. Out of wanting to control something. I went to my apartment, came back with 2 envelopes, worn, aged, precious. She wanted you to have them at the right time. I don't know if this is the right time, but it's the time we have. I handed them over. David's hands were shaking. My daughter was crying. Thank you, David whispered. Don't thank me. I kept them from you for 2 years past when you should have had them. That's not generosity. That's cruelty I'm finally ending. They left. Really left this time. I watched them go. Back in my apartment, I found Sarah's last letter to me, the one I'd never opened, too afraid of what it would say, what final thought she'd had, what disappointment she'd recorded. I opened it now, 3 years late, maybe forever late. Her handwriting, shaky from the sickness but still hers. My love, by the time you read this, I'll be gone and you'll be alone with our children. I know you're going to hold on too tight. I know you're going to try to control who they become. I know you're going to be hurt when they grow away from you. That's who you are. A man who builds foundations and expects them to stay put. But children aren't foundations. They're meant to move. They're meant to grow beyond us, even when it hurts. Especially when it hurts. Let them go, even if they forget you for a while. Even if they break your heart. Let them go. Because the love that matters isn't the love that holds on. It's the love that releases. I'm releasing you now. From the burden of being my husband. From the guilt of moving forward. Release them too. When the time comes. Release them. With love. Always with love. Sarah. I read it 3 times. Then folded it. Put it back in the envelope. Sat in the dark. She'd known. Known exactly what would happen. Known I'd fail her. And given me permission anyway. At dawn, I drove to the cemetery. First time in a year. Stood at her grave. I failed, I told the stone. I held on. I fought back. I destroyed them instead of releasing them. Everything you told me not to do, I did. The morning was quiet. Birds, wind, nothing else. But I'm releasing them now. Too late. But now. I stayed until the sun was fully up. Then drove back to my apartment. Jimmy called. You okay? I think so. Truth? I don't know. But I'm here. That's something. It is. We hung up. I looked around my apartment, the home I'd fought for, the space I'd defended, the walls I'd built. It felt like exactly what it was. Empty. But I'd keep it anyway. Because it was mine. Because I'd earned it. Because releasing my children didn't mean releasing everything. I sat at the kitchen table, the one I'd built when David was 6, ran my hand over the wood, felt the grain. Outside, the city moved. People lived their lives, built their foundations, made their mistakes, destroyed and were destroyed. Inside, I sat in the silence I'd created, and I thought about Sarah's letter, about releasing them, but I also thought about the slap, the demand, the betrayal, and I knew even with her words, even with their apologies, even with the empty lot, and the donated land, and the letters delivered too late, I knew one truth above all else. I walked to the window, looked out at the city, at the streets I'd worked, the buildings I'd helped raise, the foundations I'd poured, and I whispered to no one, to everyone, to myself, "You should have slapped a weaker man." I turned away from the window, closed the curtains, sat in the dark I'd chosen. This was my home, my foundation, my revenge, and I'd live with it.